This film is not a historical account of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, nor does it seek to project a chronological biography of the lives of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo mentioned, "It would be only myself who could speak of things in my past, giving them their true form and significance." He wrote to a disciple, "Neither you nor anyone else knows anything at all of my life. It has not been on the surface for men to see." Likewise, the Mother said, "Do not ask questions about the details of the material existence of this body. They are in themselves of no interest and must not attract attention. Throughout all this life, knowingly or unknowingly, I have been what the Lord wanted me to be. I have done what the Lord wanted me to do. That alone matters." In deference to the wishes of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, this film is but a humble offering at their lotus feet, based on their notes, recollections, and some relevant documents. While providing glimpses of their lives, the film is essentially a tribute to the spiritual mission they embodied and the divinity with which they blessed the world.
The Mother said, "I was very young at that time, and I always used to tell myself that if ever I could do it, I would try to create a little world, quite a small one, but still a small world where people would be able to live without having to be preoccupied with food and lodging and clothing and the imperative necessities of life, so as to see whether all the energies freed by the certainty of a secure material living would turn spontaneously towards the divine life and the inner realization." Well, towards the middle of my life, at least what is usually the middle of a human life, the means was given to me, and I could realize this, that is, create such conditions of life. As Sri Aurobindo had completely withdrawn, one of the first needs that got crystallized was the Darshan days. Since 1927, he gave Darshan to his disciples on 3 days in a year, starting with the Mother's birthday on 21st February, his own birthday on 15th August, and 24th November, the Siddhi Day. Explaining the significance of the Darshan, the Mother said, "In the days when Sri Aurobindo used to give Darshan, before he gave it, there was always a concentration of certain forces or of a certain realization which he wanted to give people. And so each Darshan marked a stage forward. Each time, something was added."
To quote Sri Aurobindo, a mental belief, creed or faith, an emotional aspiration, a regulation of conduct according to a religious or ethical formula are not spiritual achievement and experience. Spirituality is in its essence an awakening to the inner reality of our being, to a spirit, self, soul which is other than our mind, life, and body. Sri Aurobindo has pointed out that the psychic opening is truly the real key for a successful sadhana in this yoga.
The Mother said, "Here we do not have religion. We replace religion by the spiritual life, which is truer, deeper, and higher at the same time. That is to say, closer to the divine. For the divine is in everything, but we are not conscious of it. This is the immense progress that man must make. The mother, besides her inner sadhana, made her physical contact more and more active with the disciples, guiding them for their progress on the path through different activities. Wrote Sri Aurobindo, "The divine puts on an appearance of humanity, assumes the outward human nature in order to tread the path and show it to human beings, but does not cease to be the divine." In the morning, the sadhaks were blessed by the mother after pranam to her. She used to give a flower to each sadhak. The mother gave their symbolic meaning to hundreds of flowers. There is a mental projection when one gives a precise meaning to a flower. It may answer, vibrate to the touch of this projection, accept the meaning. The mother said, "When I give them, I give you states of consciousness."
From 1927 onwards, the first of every month was the Prosperity Day. On that day, the sadhaks would receive from the mother their monthly requirement of clothes and other basic necessities. The year 1927 also saw the beginning of the New Year's celebration. On the eve of the New Year's Day, the sadhaks assembled in the ashram around midnight, and as soon as the clock struck midnight, the mother welcomed the new year with music on her organ. This was followed by pranams in the stillness of the night, and the mother blessed everyone. The last of the midnight pranams took place on 31st December 1937. Since then, the New Year's celebration continues in a different manner.
A simple gesture on 25th December 1929 later became a major celebration in the ashram. Although it is commonly called the Christmas Day celebration, it is actually the day of the rebirth of light that is celebrated in the ashram. Besides the mother's daily routine of attending on Sri Aurobindo and involvement in other affairs of the ashram, she would visit sadhaks in their rooms by turn on fixed days in the afternoon. One of the activities that used to take a lot of the mother's time was the birthday celebration of the inmates and visiting devotees. Individually, they were given the opportunity to visit the mother for her blessings. The mother said, "From the viewpoint of the inner nature, the individual is more receptive on his birthday from year to year, and thus it is an opportune moment to help him to make some progress each year.
The mother, with her multiple activities, gradually became the central presence in Sri Aurobindo Ashram, bringing a sense of security and assurance to the inmates. In an announcement, the mother later said,
"The indispensable basis of our yoga is sincerity, honesty, unselfishness, disinterested consecration to the work to be done, nobility of character, and straightforwardness. They who do not practice these elementary virtues are not Sri Aurobindo's disciples and have no place in the ashram."
On the early morning of 24th November 1938, Sri Aurobindo had an accident and fractured his right leg. He was advised rest for several weeks. The disciples were eager to have Sri Aurobindo's darshan. To wait till August 1939 was too hard for them. So 24th April, the anniversary of the mother's second and final arrival at Pondicherry, was added as the fourth Darshan day in 1939. The mother wrote, "The anniversary of my return to Pondicherry was the tangible sign of the sure victory over the adverse forces."
In 1939, the Second World War began. The world was shaken into a new rhythm of life.
The direct result of the war on the ashram was the arrival of children whose parents were in the danger zone of the war. These children were accepted by the mother. On 2nd December 1943, the mother formally opened a school with about 20 children. She herself became one of the first teachers. The first anniversary of the school was held on 2nd December 1944. Subsequently, the cultural program was shifted to 1st December every year. The mother was very much involved and took active interest in the program to encourage and inspire the students, teachers, and other participants. This program continues to be a very colorful and artistic function of the school.
In May 1945, the Department of Physical Education was founded to coordinate all physical fitness activities in the ashram. The physical activities have since expanded from the ashram playground to the tennis ground and the sports ground. Soon the members of the physical education were brought together under the organization called Jeunesse Sportive de l'Ashram de Sri Aurobindo. The JSASA adopted a championship badge whose significance the Mother explained. This badge is in the form of a golden tortoise with a full circle of red in the center, from which radiate 12 white rays. The form and color of the badge have an occult significance. The tortoise is the symbol of terrestrial immortality, that is, the immortality of the physical body on this earth. Later, this badge became the symbol of the Department of Physical Education. The Mother drew an outline of the spiritual map of India on a wall in the playground, from which was prepared a relief map in plaster. The Mother wrote, "It is the map of the true India, in spite of all passing appearances, and it will always remain the map of the true India." She regularly took salute in the playground till 1958 during march past by the group members. Thereafter, she took salute only on Darshan days till 1962.
Vande Mataram! Victoire à la douce mère!
The Mother laid a great stress on physical education as she explained, "We want to come in contact with the Supreme Consciousness, the universal consciousness. We want to bring it down in ourselves and to manifest it. But for that, we must have a very solid base. Our base is our physical being, our body. Therefore, we have to build up a body solid, healthy, enduring, skillful, agile and strong, ready for everything." Sri Aurobindo said, "The body is the base or pedestal of our terrestrial existence. The longer the body can be made to live by maintaining its health, strength, and active energies, the more the gain for the sadhana. A divine life in a divine body is the formula of the ideal that we envisage."
The first physical demonstration was held on 2nd December 1945. Since then, there has been a display of better and better demonstrations, year after year. This program has become a spectacular event of physical education. The ideal of physical education that the Mother and Sri Aurobindo have held in the ashram is unique, and never in the history of physical education has it been taken in such high esteem and given so much importance. On 24th April 1952, the Mother inaugurated the bodybuilding gymnasium. The Mother said, "Do not forget that to succeed in our yoga, one must have a strong and healthy body. For this, the body must do exercise, have an active and regular life, work physically, eat well, and sleep well. It is in good health that the way towards transformation is found." As every other activity, physical education too developed under the sovereign aegis of the Mother.
Reputed gymnasts from abroad, visited the ashram and gave demonstrations which helped the members of Physical Education Department to acquire skills for the development of their physical training. In April 1956, the Russian gymnasts visited the ashram and performed gymnastics. The Soviet gymnasts received the mother's blessings.
To encourage the participants, the mother involved herself in various activities of physical education, including sports events of the ashram. The mother had a passion for tennis. She started learning it when she was only 8 years old and used to play with the best players to learn the skill of the game. Her abiding love for the game continued until she was over 80.
The mother was so occupied with the various activities of the physical education that she would return to the ashram only late in the evening. In the playground, the director of physical education used to put on her a garland which she was offering at the feet of Sri Aurobindo after she returned to the ashram. In 1948, all the members of JSA-SA had for the first time the opportunity to march past the mother and Sri Aurobindo. After Sri Aurobindo left his body, the event was changed to concentration under the balcony, where the mother would come and take the salute, followed by a salute to Sri Aurobindo's samadhi. The mother would join the members for a short concentration around the samadhi. This program was continued till 1961.
As it was felt essential to publish regularly the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, the Ashram Press was founded in 1945. Monthly and periodical journals containing mostly the writings of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother and other information about the ashram are also regularly published in various languages. Sri Aurobindo's great epic Savitri started to appear in print, canto by canto, in a journal of the ashram from the year 1946, and later it was published as a book. Savitri came out to be Sri Aurobindo's vision of the future and his boon to mankind. Sri Aurobindo's great epic Savitri occupies a very special place in his life and work. It is the prophetic message of the divinized earth and man's godlike possibilities. The press has been developing and progressing to achieve the best possible quality in printing. It has emerged as an essential service like the other services of the ashram.
August 1947, the 75th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo. India achieved her long-awaited freedom as the most precious gift of the divine. In his message for the day, Sri Aurobindo wrote, "I take this coincidence not as a fortuitous accident, but as the sanction and seal of the divine force that guides my steps on the work with which I began life, the beginning of its full fruition." Wrote Sri Aurobindo, 15th August is usually a turning point or a notable day for me personally, either in sadhana or life, indirectly only for others.
In the morning of August 15th, 1947, the mother hoisted her flag, the spiritual flag of India. Bande Mataram was sung, and the mother responded with Jai Hind. About her flag, the mother wrote, "It is the flag of India's spiritual mission, and in the accomplishment of this mission will India's unity be accomplished." On this significant day, she invoked, "O our Mother, O soul of India, Mother who has never forsaken thy children, even in the days of darkest depression, even when they turned away from thy voice, served other masters, and denied thee. Now when they have arisen, and the light is on thy face in this dawn of thy liberation, in this great hour, we salute thee. Guide us, so that the horizon of freedom opening before us may be also a horizon of true greatness and of thy true life in the community of the nations. Guide us so that we may be always on the side of great ideals and show to men thy true visage, as a leader in the ways of the Spirit and a friend and helper of all the peoples." The mother once said jovially to a disciple, "India is a big pot in which ingredients have been brought from everywhere to cook a fine dinner." Sri Aurobindo once wrote, "He who would bring the heavens here must descend himself into clay, and the burden of earthly nature bear, and tread the dolorous way." From 17th November 1950, Sri Aurobindo's physical ailment caused anxiety. Still, on 24th November, the Darshan went off smoothly. No one, except the near ones, knew about Sri Aurobindo's ailment. On 5th December 1950, at 1:26 a.m., Sri Aurobindo left his body. It is finished, the dread, mysterious sacrifice offered by God's martyred body for the world. He who has found his identity with God pays with the body's death his soul's vast light. His knowledge immortal triumphs by his death. The mother said, "When I asked him to resuscitate his body, he clearly answered, 'I have left this body purposely. I will not take it back. I shall manifest again in the first supramental body, built in the supramental way.' His body was charged with such a concentration of supramental light that there was no sign of decomposition. The body was kept as long as it remained intact." On 9th December, Sri Aurobindo's body was interned under the service tree in the center of the ashram courtyard.
The mother said, "We must not be bewildered by appearances. Sri Aurobindo has not left us. Sri Aurobindo is here, as living and as present as ever, and it is left to us to realize his work with all the sincerity, eagerness, and concentration necessary. To express our gratitude to Sri Aurobindo, we can do nothing better than to be a living demonstration of his teaching." The mother gave a hymn of gratitude to the Master. "To thee, who has been the material envelope of our Master, to thee our infinite gratitude. Before thee, who hast done so much for us, who hast worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much. Before thee, who hast willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us. Before thee, we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to thee."
The mother resumed all her activities from 17th December 1950. She said, "Nothing has changed. Call for inspiration and help. You will get everything from Sri Aurobindo as before." The mother said, "Sri Aurobindo is constantly among us and reveals himself to those who are ready to see and hear him."
As educational activities were increasing, the mother gave them a formal shape. Opening on 24th April 1951, the Sri Aurobindo Memorial Convention, which met at the ashram tennis ground. She announced, "In his name, I open today this convention meeting here with the purpose of realizing one of his most cherished ideals." Later, the mother said, "One of the most recent forms under which Sri Aurobindo conceived of the development of his work was to establish at Pondicherry an international university center open to students from all over the world. It is considered that the most fitting memorial to his name would be to found this university now, so as to give concrete expression to the fact that his work continues with unabated vigor." On 6th January 1952, the mother inaugurated the International University Center. On that day, she formulated the students' prayer. "Make of us the hero warriors we aspire to become. May we fight successfully the great battle of the future that is to be born against the past that seeks to endure, so that the new things may manifest and we be ready to receive them."
The mother said, "We are not here to do only a little better what the others do. We are here to do what the others cannot do, because they do not have the idea that it can be done. We are here to open the way of the future to children who belong to the future. Anything else is not worth the trouble and not worthy of Sri Aurobindo's help." Even though apparently the school's activities looked similar to activities in any other school, there was something extraordinary about the ashram school. Explained the mother, "You are plunged in a sea of consciousness, full of light, aspiration, true understanding, essential purity. And whether you want it or not, it enters. There is an awakening in the consciousness. There is a kind of inner response and a feeling of blossoming of inner freedom, which is not found elsewhere. When good quality clay falls in the hands of a skillful potter, it comes out as good pots." The mother said, "We are trying to mold our students into excellent specimens of humanity." To the students, one major advice given by the mother is, before the eternal consciousness, one drop of sincerity has more value than an ocean of pretense and hypocrisy. To the teachers, the mother said, to be worthy of teaching according to the supramental truth given us by Sri Aurobindo, there should no longer be any ego.
The mother herself took classes on Wednesday, known as the Wednesday class, from June 1951 to December 1958, for a period of about 7 years. These classes started with a reading of prayers and meditations at the guest house and subsequently shifted to playground as the number of students increased. Besides, the mother also took classes for different age groups on diverse subjects. In 1959, the mother changed the name of Sri Aurobindo International University Centre to Sri Aurobindo International Centre of Education. She gave it a new symbol, a superimposition of the mother's symbol on Sri Aurobindo's, and its meaning she explained, the effective manifestation of Ishvara and Ishwari in union.
The International Center of Education of the ashram provides the curriculum of an integral education based on the ideals of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. The 5 principal aspects relating to the 5 principal activities of the human being, the physical, vital, mental, psychic, and spiritual, constitute the exclusive parts of the education imparted and practiced at the Center of Education. The Center of Education has provision for education from the kindergarten to higher and advanced levels of study. It has the faculties of humanities, languages, sciences, engineering technology, and physical education.
Well-equipped laboratories have been created for the students of science and technical subjects to have necessary experiments and practical knowledge. The main library of the ashram, known as Sri Aurobindo Library, is well stocked with books by Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, and also related books on them by other authors. The library also has a collection of general books and journals in plenitude on various subjects in different languages. It caters not only to the students, but also research scholars and the inmates. the Department of Physical Education maintains a separate library and regularly receives numerous magazines and periodicals pertaining to health and physical education.
The center has its own official journal, Bulletin of Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education, earlier called Bulletin of Physical Education, a quarterly which publishes the writings of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Relevant photographs and other information about the ashram are also published in this journal. A well-maintained archive has been created in the ashram for nurturing the research and educational activities. The archive continues to collect, store, and preserve scientifically the most precious documents and photographs related to Sri Aurobindo, the Mother, and the ashram for posterity. The Center of Education organizes regularly talks on a variety of subjects to provide comprehensive and contemporary knowledge, in particular to the students and teachers. The inmates and visitors also have the privilege of attending these talks. The Center of Education provides facilities for learning music and dancing, Indian and Western, drawing and painting, dramatics, and the arts and crafts.
So far as physical education is concerned, physical culture occupies a very important place in the life of the ashram and hence in the center of education. A rational and well-conducted program for physical education has been chalked out, and the group members participate in these activities round the year. The basic program, the Mother spells out, will be to build a body that is beautiful in form, harmonious in posture, supple and agile in its movements, powerful in its activities, and robust in its health and organic functioning. The Mother said, "The world is preparing for a new creation. Let us help through physical education by making our bodies stronger, more receptive and more plastic on the way to physical transformation." The integrated use of educational infrastructure and facilities has helped nurture wholesome learning. Besides, the routine lifestyle and the living conditions throughout the day have been planned and motivated to give them a true integral education in all its aspects. Facility for indoor games is provided not only as a recreation but also for the development of skill and concentration of the students. Selected films are screened at regular intervals at the playground as one of the programs for an integral education. Video films on sports, significant documentaries with educational values are shown regularly to the students for integral development. Annual picnics and outings of the group members in the lap of nature provide a refreshing dimension to the integral education. The group members are taught basic elements of self-help, team spirit, fellowship, disciplined actions, and many essential elements apart from fun and amusement. It helps immensely to develop the qualities that make life rich and purposeful.
Sri Aurobindo wrote, "Not only book knowledge and information, but growth in culture and character are parts of a true education." As the name itself suggests, the center is international in character. It aspires to represent here the cultures of the different regions of the world in such a way as to be accessible to all. The ideal is that every nation with its distinctive culture should have a contribution of its own to make a cultural synthesis. Visiting eminent artists and groups from different regions of the country and abroad also perform in the ashram, contributing to the cultural synthesis. Cultural programs of dance, drama, and music are held regularly round the year by the students, teachers, and inmates of the ashram. The growth and progress of educational activities simultaneously in all the aspects of integral education continue with development of essential infrastructure and facilities provided at the Center of Education to achieve the goal of establishing the greatest seat of knowledge upon earth. The founding of this Center of Education was therefore nothing less than the founding of a new mankind upon earth, with a new life and new consciousness.
The mother said, "I am perfectly sure, I am quite confident, there is not the slightest doubt in my mind that this university, which is being established here, will be the greatest seat of knowledge upon earth. It may take 50 years, it may take 100 years, and you may doubt about my being there. I may be there or not, but these children of mine will be there to carry out my work. And those who collaborate in this divine work today will have the joy and pride of having participated in such an exceptional achievement."
In 1952, the mother helped to reopen official negotiations between French and Indian governments for the merger of Pondicherry with India, which was initiated by Sri Aurobindo after India's independence in 1947. The merger, however, took place on 1st November 1954. And in celebration of the event, the mother hoisted the spiritual flag of India in the ashram. It was hoisted on the 15th August 1947 when India became free.
The mother gave the message to the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. India must rise to the height of her mission and proclaim the truth to the world. She also gave the message to the President of India, Sri V.V. Giri, let us all work for the greatness of India. The Mother gave another message to the Prime Minister of India, Srimati Indira Gandhi. Let India work for the future and set the example. Thus, she will recover her true place in the world. The Mother invokes,
O India, land of light and spiritual knowledge, wake up to your true mission in the world. Show the way to union and harmony.
The Mother, in her New Year message of 1955, said,
No human will can finally prevail against the divine's will. Let us put ourselves deliberately and exclusively on the side of the divine, and the victory is ultimately certain.
It was on 29th February 1956 that a great event in the spiritual history of the earth took place during the Wednesday meditation at the playground. On this glorious day, there was the manifestation of the supramental, heralding the decisive victory. The Mother explained, this evening, the divine presence, concrete and material, was there present amongst you. I had a form of living gold, bigger than the universe. I was facing a huge and massive golden door which separated the world from the divine. As I looked at the door, I knew and willed, in a single movement of consciousness, that the time has come. And lifting with both hands a mighty golden hammer, I struck one blow, one single blow on the door, and the door was shattered to pieces. Then the supramental light and force and consciousness rushed down upon earth in an uninterrupted flow. In the year 1914, during the First World War, the Mother announced in a message, a new light shall break upon the earth, a new world shall be born, and the things that were promised shall be fulfilled. Her prophetic announcement came true. On 29th March 1956, the Mother distributed a print of the Golden Purusha with the message, Lord, Thou hast willed, and I execute. A new light breaks upon the earth, a new world is born. The things that were promised are fulfilled.
One day, and all the half deed is done. One day, and all the unborn begun. A little path and the great goal. A touch that brings the divine whole. Hill after hill was climbed, and now, behold, the last tremendous brow, and the great rock that none has trod. A step and all is sky and God.
On 24th April 1956, the Mother said, "The manifestation of the supramental upon earth is no more a promise, but a living fact, a reality. It is at work here, and one day will come when the most blind, the most unconscious, even the most unwilling shall be obliged to recognize it." Wrote Sri Aurobindo, "I know with absolute certitude that the supramental is a truth, and that its advent is in the very nature of things inevitable."
The Mother, in her message of 21st February 1957, said,
In the eternity of becoming, each avatar is only the announcer, the forerunner of a more perfect future realization. And yet, men have always the tendency to defy the avatar of the past in opposition to the avatar of the future. Now again, Sri Aurobindo has come announcing to the world the realization of tomorrow. And again, his message meets with the same opposition as of all those who preceded him. But tomorrow will prove the truth of what he revealed, and his work will be done.
In a message, the Mother wrote, "Supreme Lord, eternal truth, let us obey Thee alone and live according to truth." The Mother declared 29th February 1960, the first anniversary of the supramental manifestation, as the Golden Day. She gave the message, "Henceforth, the 29th of February will be the day of the Lord." It was in this year, 1960, that collective meditation in the playground began on 2 days of the week, Thursdays and Sundays. The Mother's presence remains as concrete as ever.
The Mother, besides attending to other activities of the ashram, had in her daily agenda a unique and significant program of giving darshan to the inmates and the devotees every morning from the balcony of her first floor apartment since 1938. She explained, "Every morning at the balcony, after establishing a conscious contact with each person present, I merge with the Supreme Lord, and then my body is nothing but a channel through which He pours out upon all His light, His consciousness, and His joy, to each one according to his capacity." The balcony darshan continued till 18th March 1962. It was from 1962 that the Mother continued to live in her second floor apartment and did not come down for the rest of her life. The message for the new year 1963 was a clarion call from the Mother. Let us prepare for the hour of God. It is surely a message for the humanity till the divine life is established on earth.
On 21st February 1963, the Mother gave the first terrace darshan from her second-floor terrace at 6:15 in the evening. Since then, she continued to give darshan from her second-floor terrace on darshan days. Thou hast come down into a struggling world to aid a blind and suffering mortal race, to open to light the eyes that could not see, to bring down bliss into the heart of grief, to make thy life a bridge twixt earth and heaven. The Mother once said, "She has come, bringing with her a splendor of power and love, an intensity of divine joy unknown to the earth so far." In her reminiscences, the Mother said on February 21st, 1968,
I came to India to meet Sri Aurobindo. I remained in India to live with Sri Aurobindo. When he left his body, I continued to live here in order to do his work, which is by serving the truth and enlightening mankind to hasten the rule of the divine's love upon earth.
Since its inception, Sri Aurobindo Ashram has continually striven to be a nurturing ground for the integral development of mental, physical, vital, psychic, and spiritual faculties. The one aim of Sri Aurobindo's yoga is an inner self-development by which each one who follows it can in time discover the one self in all and evolve a higher consciousness than the mental, a spiritual and supramental consciousness which will transform and divinize human nature. All other yogas regard this life as an illusion or a passing phase. The supramental yoga alone regards it as a thing created by the divine for a progressive manifestation and takes the fulfillment of the life and the body for its object. It is for the first time that a yoga aims at transformation and divinization of physical life instead of escaping from it. It is an integral yoga.
Sri Aurobindo came to tell us, one need not leave the earth to find the truth. One need not leave the life to find his soul. One need not abandon the world or have only limited belief to enter into relation with the divine. The divine is everywhere, in everything, and if he is hidden, it is because we do not take the trouble to discover him. The ashram provides an unparalleled opportunity for the aspirants of the higher life to live in a dynamic atmosphere conducive to spiritual growth under the direct guidance and protection of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and to perfect them in the truth of the Divine Spirit. The dining room in the ashram is a vibrant place that continually underscores the value of wholesome and nutritious food in an ambience suffused by orderliness, hygiene, and a great sense of community. Apart from inmates, visitors and guests can also have their meals here. A separate kitchen and dining room were also created exclusively for growing children, so that wholesome food could be provided to nurture young bodies. The mother named it Corner House, and it was inaugurated on 11 June 1967. Since that day, all the hostel children, teachers, and members of the physical education department have been provided with the facility of taking their daily meals in the Corner House. Specific celebrations are also held on different occasions.
The healthcare facilities in the ashram maintain a very high standard, backed by qualified doctors and support staff. The care and love unfailingly provided at the home for the aged makes it an abode of serene succor for its inmates. The ashram accords great importance to the visitors who arrive from all parts of India and from around the world. The Bureau Central is a one-stop information center that provides comprehensive inputs about the ashram. The reception service inside the ashram premises also provides information to the visitors about the ashram and its activities. Photographs of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo are available here for sale. About her photographs, the Mother said, "Each photo represents a different aspect, sometimes even a different personality of my being. And by concentrating on the photo, one enters into relation with that special aspect of different personality which the photo has captured and whose image it conveys. It is I who am there." On the Mother's photographs, Sri Aurobindo wrote to a disciple, "By your meditating near them, you have been able to enter through them into communion with the Mother, and something of her power and her presence is there."
The ashram has also sales centers of its own publications in different languages. The ashram provides various sales centers of its own products. A restaurant is also maintained for refreshment.
The ashram has its own department for the designing and construction of its buildings. The ashram also runs various maintenance services. The Computer Service Center of the ashram provides various computer-related services like assembling, repairing, and maintenance of computers. The audio recording studio offers high-quality soundtracks for a variety of programs in the ashram.
Hostels for the students have been provided with all facilities for a comfortable stay. Apartments have been provided with good living conditions for the inmates. Various guest houses cater to accommodation requirements round the year. The four main guest houses of the ashram are Golkond, Park, Cottage, and New Guest House. These guest houses provide a very comfortable living with extraordinary hygienic condition in a peaceful atmosphere.
The vast literature of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo and their disciples, continuously published and circulated by the ashram, is a force for widening of the intellectual horizon of humanity, and has gone a long way in rooting out beliefs and traditions of the past and sowing in their place new seeds of a luminous future.
Indeed, there has been remarkable growth and progress in all the services of the ashram, with the aim of achieving material perfection and spiritual height that would lead to make the life a life divine. The path is long, and patience has to be unending. Considering the magnitude of the work and the revolutionary nature of the goal, even a few centuries of effort are not too big a price or too long a wait for its accomplishment. In perspective, the ashram as a fruition of the yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother is a symbol of incessant unfolding. This yoga is a silent revolution. A sadhak in this yoga ascends in his realization from peak to peak silently, like the rising sun. In 1960, the Mother started an international organization called Sri Aurobindo Society. She was its founder and executive president. The prime objective of the society is to spread the message of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother throughout the world and to work for a spiritual transformation of every activity of human life. On 28 February 1968, Auroville, the city of dawn, was dedicated to Sri Aurobindo's ideal of human unity. Almost every nation in the world and every state of the Indian Union were represented in the simple, symbolic and grand ceremony of dedication which was organized by Sri Aurobindo Society. Auroville is an experiment for collective living for peace, harmony, and truth. Its purpose is to realize human unity. Sri Aurobindo Ashram is for the sadhana of supramental integral transformation of life to life divine and establish the divine life upon earth based on the teachings of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. With regard to the relation between the ashram and Auroville, the Mother clarified, the ashram will retain its true role of pioneer, inspirer, and guide. Auroville is the attempt towards collective realization. In her New Year message of 1972, the Mother wrote, "Let us all try to be worthy of Sri Aurobindo's centenary." The Mother gave the message, "Today is the first day of Sri Aurobindo's centenary year. Though he has left his body, he is still with us, alive and active." On 15th August 1972, the 100th anniversary of Sri Aurobindo's birth, the Mother said, "Sri Aurobindo's message is an immortal sunlight radiating over the future." A golden folder with a photograph of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's message, "One step more towards eternity," was distributed on this day.
Since the beginning of April 1973, there had been a series of setbacks to the Mother's physical condition, while she was fighting and trying to do what she had taken upon herself, the transformation of the body. Despite an ailing physical condition, the Mother, in her boundless love for her children, continued to give darshan till August 1973. Towards the end of the year 1972, the Mother said, "It is as though the battle of the world was being fought within my consciousness." She said, "Things have taken an extreme form. So there is, as it were, an uplift of the atmosphere towards a splendor, almost inconceivable, and at the same time, the feeling that at any moment one may die. Not die, but the body may be dissolved." In the evening of 17th November 1973, the Mother left her body. The Mother's body was laid on the divan in the meditation hall and kept there till the morning of the 20th for Darshan. Long before, in the year 1948, when Sri Aurobindo was still physically present, she said, "I am not willing to go. I will not go. But if it so happens that I leave my body, then put my body under the service tree." When Sri Aurobindo left his body, the Mother ordered to make 2 chambers in the Samadhi vault, one above the other. The upper chamber remained vacant. In the morning of 20th November 1973, the Mother's body was placed into the vacant upper chamber of the Samadhi vault in immaculate silence. It stands now as one Samadhi for both Sri Aurobindo and the Mother under the service tree. The Mother reminded us repeatedly, "I am installed in all your hearts. Just be quiet. Try to hear what I say inside you and act according to the directions I give. But for that, you must be very, very sincere, and you must allow only the right type of vibrations in you. Sweet Mother, your physical body belonged to the old creation because you wanted to be one with your children. You wanted this body to uphold the new body you were building upon it, and it gave you the service you asked of it. You will come with your new body. Your children's, the world's call and aspiration, love and consecration are laid at your feet in gratitude. The mother wanted to do the physical transformation on her own body, but for some reason, it could not be done. That does not mean that the process of physical transformation has stopped or been postponed. The mother is working at every moment to help those who are open to her to achieve the goal of physical transformation. The mother said, "You know nothing of what I have done for you. I have reduced the work of many lives, shortened the way, removed all the difficulties, and now you only have to walk without any worry."
People from all over India and the world visit the ashram round the year. Many distinguished personalities have visited and continue to visit the ashram. Some of them had the privilege of meeting the mother in person. Devotees and visitors who come to the ashram go back with a breath of a new atmosphere, charged with the vibrations of a collective endeavor to grow in the ways of a higher knowledge, power, and beauty. And they carry back with them a living presence and inspiration. Sri Aurobindo wrote, "Each individual has the possibility of reaching the utmost realization, independent of the form to which he momentarily belongs. In man, there is the whole range, right up to the higher being, capable of spiritual life." He said that mankind in the past has experienced many kinds of revolutions, social, political, and religious. The whole human civilization, as Sri Aurobindo said, is now in this silent spiritual revolution. Sri Aurobindo's relics have been installed in different parts of the country and abroad. It is beyond doubt that Sri Aurobindo's power and consciousness are present in these relic centers, which have become sacred places of worship. Many of the disciples and followers of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, staying outside the ashram, have organized themselves into groups and centers all over the world and are working effectively in ways suited to their environment to spread the light of their inspiration among the public in different spheres of their life.
In unmistakable terms, the Mother and Sri Aurobindo have promised and given the assurance that they would stay with us not only as a consciousness which guides and illumines, but also as a dynamic presence in action, and would not leave the earth atmosphere till the earth is transformed. Indeed, the presence of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother is palpable in the earth's atmosphere, leading humanity further towards a resplendent future. The work in Sri Aurobindo Ashram continues to achieve the goal of making the life a life divine, and to establish the divine life upon earth as envisaged by the Mother and Sri Aurobindo.
Om Tat Saviturvaram Rupam Jyoti Parasya Dhimahi Yanna Satyena Deepayet.
Let us meditate on the most auspicious form of Savitri, on the light of the Supreme, which shall illumine us with the truth.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Aurobindaya. Om Anandamayi Chaitanyamayi Satyamayi